In this episode, we start taking out 7.5 inch rear end out of Project Low Fairmont, and we have a close call at the very end, so stick around for that. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Van, where I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds, a little something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And today, it's time to start taking the 5-lug swap, the rear axle swap, a little bit more seriously, and so we are going to get started on that today. But before I could even make it here to this point today, let's rewind back to yesterday and see what I needed to do first. Okay, so it is Saturday here, and with the prospect of the 5-lug swap, the back axle swap, I figure if the car is going to be on jack stands and it's not going to move for a while, as well as I'll probably be spending a lot of time on my back, I better clean this garage while I still have the chance. So that's what today is about, is getting the garage in shape, so we can start that long haul on the 8.8 swap. All we're left to do now is scrub the floor, but that's probably going to be boring footage for you guys, so let's just get back to what we're doing on Sunday. So with a clean garage, I guess I've got no more excuses but to get this thing up on jack stands. And so because the confines are tight here in the garage, we're going to start on the far end, the driver's side front. That's our first location for a jack point, so let's get started. Okay, so with limited space on this side, I did try pulling out my big floor jack on the passenger side. Thought it was long enough to get underneath the car, and it was, but I could like barely move the lever to get it to pump. So, and I figured as I was going to tilt the car back towards it, that would wind up putting me in no man's land. So we're using my smaller floor jack here on this side. Special shout out to Craig Durbin, link to his channel up here, for lending me a pair of jack stands. I of course have two the axle is sitting on, but I need 4. So anyway, thank you Craig for lending me another pair of jack stands, but let's get to jacking. Okay, so my small floor jack just wasn't going to lift it high enough to get the big jack stand under here, so but it was able to lift the car enough for me to get my big jack over here, so we're gonna keep going that way. Okay, so we did it. I wanted to get on the subframe frame rail right there, but I just didn't trust where I was at for my jack point to get up high enough. So I ended up going right under the K member here with the jack stand. So I'm going to do that on the reverse side, and if I still feel good about it on that side, we'll proceed. Feel free to leave me a comment. If there's something I'm overlooking here from a safety perspective, please do let me know. There you have it. It's all jacked up. Now, one thing they suggest doing is kind of just push against the car for stability. I'd rather find out if it wasn't stable without me under it than with me under it. So. All right, I think that's good. This begins a series of clips that I just flat out lose the audio for. Here's where I'm explaining that the length of the studs, basically, it marks the same amount of width that my new axle would be. So I lift into place one of my 17-inch Magnum wheels in place, kind of line it up with the studs, and then I proceed to hang more or less a rudimentary plumb line from the fender. So I would discuss how it looks like early returns. These wheels just might fit even with the added width, but I would go on to talk about the advantage of using PB Blaster, is what I like to use for penetrating oil, to make sure everything I was going to touch by the time I arrived at Sunday was already lubed up and ready to go. But now, with the wheel off, I had better access to hit some of those same points a third, fourth, or maybe even fifth time. In this clip, I'm setting up the importance of removing the drive shaft first prior to removing the shocks. I had tried doing it in the reversed fashion, but realized I was going to probably put the drive shaft in a really bad bind, which was going to make removing those bolts more difficult. So I put the shock back on. Also, a pointer I learned from the Eric the Car Guy episode, where he removed his Fairmont rear end. Little hack he gave in that video was to put a bungee cord on the drive shaft in order that all of the fluid would not leak out of the automatic transmission tail shaft. As I was trying to find something to wedge in the U-joint to help my loosening, that just a hole in, and then the flatness of it was great because it fit like almost the perfect shape, but it was too short, so I cut a piece of flat stock a little bit longer to wedge up in there, and it seems to be doing the trick. So I started doing some editing, and I realized there were a couple of clips that just flat out didn't have audio. So that's great. So anyway, I guess we'll try to recap how I tried closing out the episode. And I started to pick up around 4:30, and then I started to realize that the garage door, when I tried shutting it, was going to hit the back bumper. So then I elected to take off the rear bumperettes, and luckily we were able to clear by just enough. But now I can see I'm about ready to run out of battery. So that'll do it for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Don't care which one you do, as long as you do one. If you want a straight 6-fan Pistons tee like I wore in this episode, and it's really dirty right now, go ahead and check out the link to my Spreadshirt store below. That's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, peace out.